This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Fiscally responsible, financial geniuses, monetary magicians. These are things people say about drivers who switch their car insurance to Progressive and save hundreds. Because Progressive offers discounts for paying in full, owning a home, and more. Plus, you can count on their great customer service to help you when you need it, so your dollar goes a long way. Visit Progressive.com to see if you could save on car insurance. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states or situations.
Who here loves when their nails are done perfectly? Me. I'm Sarah Gibson Tuttle, and I started Olive in June because, let's be real, we all deserve to have gorgeous nails, but who wants to spend a fortune or half their day at the nail salon? That's why I created the Gel Mani system, so you can have that salon-quality gel manicure right at home. And guess what? The best part? Each mani only costs $2. Yep, you heard me, $2. No more $60, $70, $80 salon trips that eat up your day. Now you can paint your nails whenever you want, wherever you want, and trust me, you're going to be obsessed with your nails, and everyone is going to ask you where you got them done. And here's a little something extra. Head over to oliveinjune.com and get 20% off your first Gel Mani system with code DIYGEL20. That's code DIYGEL20 for 20% off your first Mani system at oliveinjune.com/DIYGEL20.
Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest, the last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the
designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your
windshield wipers? eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying, just beautiful.
Millions of finds, each with a story. eBay. Things people love.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever find yourself playing the budgeting game? Well, with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive, you can find options that fit your budget and potentially lower your bills. Try it at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states.
Raise your hand if you want your nails to look perfect all the time. Me too. I'm Sarah Gibson Tuttle, the founder of Olive in June, and this is exactly why we created the Gel Mani system. We wanted to make it possible for everyone everywhere to give themselves a beautiful manicure at home. With our tools and our gel polish that lasts up to 21 days. Each manicure with our system comes out to just $2. That's right, $2. No more $60, $70, $80 salon trips that take hours. Now you can paint your nails on your time and love them more than ever. And by the way, when people ask you where you got your nails done, you're going to proudly brag that you did them yourself. And here's a little something extra. Head over to oliveinjune.com and get 20% off your first Gel Mani system with code DIYGEL20. That's code DIYGEL20 for 20% off your first Mani system at oliveinjune.com/DIYGEL20.
Hello, I'm Sarah, and welcome to the Whispering Woods Reddit and Listener Story episode. I've got 2 scary Reddit stories to share today. I'll get straight into them. Are you ready for the first story? The night 4 students showed up after their bus crashed. I heard this story online and really wanted to share it with you guys. It's about a strange encounter from a tutor in Thailand. This happened about 10 years ago. Miss K, like many teachers there, taught kids extra classes after school and on weekends. She turned the first floor of her house into classrooms. As more students booked lessons, she eventually had to hire her friend, Miss B, to help. Miss K would teach middle school students, while Miss B would teach the high schoolers. Learning was intense. juniors and seniors often had to sleep over on Fridays and go home on Sundays. They have to grind, even during their term break. But on one particular summer break, Ms. K and Ms. B tutored their students as usual, but noticed that there were less students in Ms. B's class than usual, only 4 kids. But she didn't think much of it, because the school had scheduled a lot of extra excursions that week. So it made sense that some kids didn't attend tutoring. Everything was normal until Ms. K got a text from another friend who worked at a different school. "Did you hear that one of your school buses crashed?" Ms. K had no idea. She quickly called her friend and learned that the bus number belonged to the exact grade and class number of the current students learning in Ms. B's class. If the bus crashed, then who was Ms. B teaching right now? She then asked her housekeeper, whom she lovingly calls Auntie. It's a blanket term that Thais use to call any older lady as a form of respect. So she asked the auntie how the children got here. Auntie said that when she came downstairs, the kids were already there. The house was never locked during class hours, so students often walked in by themselves. Ding, another message from her friend. This time it was the picture of the bus that crashed, confirming that it was indeed the bus of Miss B's students. Then who the hell is in Miss B's class right now? Since Miss K's class were only middle school children, she ended her class early, and by around 7 p.m, the parents all came and picked them up. But Miss B's class was scheduled for a sleepover, which meant those 4 students would be staying the night. Miss K had no idea how she was supposed to sleep knowing that. Terrified, she decided to text Miss B, asking if she could stay the night with her. Miss B read the message but didn't answer. Miss K couldn't wait and mustered up her courage and went and peeked at Miss B's class. From her angle, she saw Miss B's back teaching the class and saw the 4 students staring directly back at Miss K, giving her strange looks. She quickly ducked and thought to herself, how am I supposed to tell the kids? Did they even know that they got into an accident? In Thai belief, when an accident is so sudden, some spirits may not realise that they have died until a while later. A moment later, Ms. B texted back asking why she wanted to sleep over. Ms. K didn't know what to say, so she lied and said she just wanted to talk. That night, Ms. K asked Auntie to watch over the kids and see if anything strange happened. Right now, no one knew about the school bus crash, only Ms. K. At like 8 p.m, Auntie came upstairs and knocked on Ms. K's room. None of the kids touched their dinner, Auntie told Ms. K. Still not wanting to tell Auntie, she told her to check on the kids later that night to see if they were sleeping. At that point, I pitied the auntie so much. So night came. Ms. K called her friend again, but it went straight to voicemail. By 11 p.m, Ms. K still hadn't received confirmation from her friend, so she texted again asking for the list of victims. Later, she decided to check on the students. The lights were off. She saw 4 silhouettes sitting in a circle in the dark. Before she could retreat, she ran into Auntie and showed her the picture of the crash. Auntie was like, no wonder the kids seemed strange. No one ate, and the kids had been sitting together like that since 9 p.m. till now. They went back to Miss K's room. Miss K texted Miss B again, asking if she was still awake. No response yet. Then there was a knock. Probably Miss B, she thought, but when she opened the door, it wasn't. It was the 4 kids. They rushed inside before she could scream. They covered her mouth and told her to calm down. Then one of the kids showed her a paper that said, "Don't make any noise. Miss B is dead." Wait, what? How could that be? Miss K then started to cry. "It's you guys who are dead. I saw the news," and proceeded to show them the picture of the bus. The students shook their heads. Yes, it was their bus, but they had used it earlier that week. The driver probably forgot to remove the class sticker. The bus involved in the crash had been carrying teachers who were going to an out-of-school workshop. The students had received an SMS from the school earlier that evening. It was a condolence message for the teachers who died. They showed Miss K the list of names. Miss B was on the list. Miss K's friend was from another school and had mistakenly thought that the school bus had students in there. But no, it's some teachers and their own children, not the students that died. And who is that sleeping next door? Now Miss K's room has 6 people. The text that Miss K sent to Miss B hadn't been read yet, but soon after they heard someone knocking. "Miss K, are you in your room? I just saw the text," Miss B said. No choice but to reply, Miss K said, "Sorry, I'm already in bed." Miss B just said okay and left, easy as that. She sounded so normal though. Miss K was confused. "Are you sure she died?" The student showed her the list of names again. We saw Miss B teaching as usual, but she didn't have any legs. It's like she just floated, and when you came to peek at our class, we looked right at you, thinking you too knew what happened to Miss B, because we received the text message from school later during class. The students were so scared after seeing Miss B's condition, too traumatized to even eat or move. After class, they just sat there in their room, huddling together for comfort. Then they heard another voice. "Miss K, are the kids in your room?" It was Miss B again. "Kids, where are you? Auntie, where are you? Where is everybody?" The clock showed 1 a.m. Miss K tried to reply calmly. "I think their parents came to get them." Miss B said, "But their shoes are still outside." Damn. Okay, it's good to know that Miss B cared about the kids and went to check on them. But like she's dead though. Auntie decided to go downstairs to talk to Miss B directly. She said she had known her for years and didn't believe Miss B would scare her, so she went. But she didn't return. 10 minutes passed, then 15, then 20. Then they heard Miss B's voice again. "Miss K, come check on Auntie. She fainted. Should we take her to the hospital?" The kids gave her a pitied but encouraging look. "I'll be down in a minute," as she braced herself. When she went down, she didn't see Miss B, but saw Auntie lying on the floor. She quickly went to check on Auntie. The auntie woke up and Miss K explained that Miss B called me to check on you. Auntie said, "How could I not faint? Miss B's whole body was twisted." Miss B was helping Auntie up the stairs, but then saw someone walking down. It was Miss B. She was just like how Auntie described. Deformed body, both legs were broken, making her bend in an unnatural manner. One of her legs was dangling and hitting the stairs as she went down. Thud, thud, thud. "Oh, Auntie's awake now. That's good," she said, as if Miss B hadn't realised what her body had become. Miss K just said, "Yeah, I'm going to take Auntie back to bed. You should go to bed too. Have some sleep." Silence followed and they heard Miss B go up the stairs. But when Miss K was going up, back to her room, she saw Miss B standing next to her room. "I don't know why, but I can't open the door. Can you open it for me? I'm so sleepy." At this point, more than scared, Miss K felt pity. The poor teacher hadn't realised that she's dead. Miss K opened the door and let Miss B enter the bedroom and then shut the door for her. Miss K then went back to her room. The kids asked her what happened, but Miss K said she would tell them all in the morning. Later, the kids fell asleep exhausted, and finally, the long night ended. At like 6 a.m, her friend came and brought Miss B's parents along. They went to check Miss B's room, but she'd gone. She wasn't there anymore. So for cultural context, in Thai beliefs, when someone has an untimely death, most spirits do not realise that they have died until days later. So the deceased parents or relative have to come and call the spirit to follow them back. That's why Miss B's parents came the very next day. Later, the tragic news went public and was broadcasted all over the country. Miss B had done her best as a teacher, and I hope she passed on peacefully.
Wow. How confusing for everybody involved, thinking that perhaps the children were the ones that were dead when it actually was the teacher. Very sad, and how heartbreaking for her friends and Auntie. Poor Auntie. I'd have done the same thing. I couldn't be dealing with that. Are you ready for the second story?
His eyes turned totally black. Decades ago, I was ending a relationship with a guy I'll just call X when this happened. This is absolutely a true story. First, some background. This happened when I was in my late 20s. I would say I was somewhat a spiritual seeker and interested in Eastern spirituality and some New Age subjects, but not very deeply. He was into stuff I didn't really give credence to. Marianne apparitions, aliens, and channeling. The far more fringy New Age stuff of the 90s. He was also very secretive and had an S3X addiction issue, which he said ended his last relationship. He compulsively hooked up with hookers, and I found out later he was extremely violent with them, something he was actually proud of. I think that's related to the phenomenon I'll describe here. He was also a compulsive liar. I'm sure there was a lot about him I didn't know. I had reached the point of ending the relationship after about a year of his crazy-making behaviour. But he said he just wanted to show me something about himself first. I got the feeling he thought this was going to wow me enough to change my mind. There was a real ego vibe as he said it. I felt sorry for him and thought I'll indulge this request, can't do any harm, and he will know then that nothing would have changed my mind. I had no idea what his party trick was going to be, but I had no fear at all, just pity and mild curiosity, plus a little impatience. Like, I hope this doesn't take long, as I wanted to get away from him and into my own space again. He had us both sit on the floor to meditate, or rather, he was going to meditate and I was going to watch. After a minute or so of his sitting with eyes closed, he opened his eyes and looked at me. His eyes, including the sclera, all of his eye, were pitch black, like bottomless pits of nothingness. Also, just before this, the room suddenly felt like it got much colder. I can't recall how long any of this took. I was 2 in the moment. So in one sense, it felt like it was all over in an instant. He didn't move, didn't make a sound, just stared at me with those black eyes. Like that would have gone on forever if I didn't react. It was absolutely apparent to me somehow that there was something looking at me that was no longer X. He was just not there. There was something that felt ancient, evil, hatred for me, for humanity, and had such hatred it wanted to end me and humanity, and yet it couldn't. It had no permission from something more powerful. I didn't think this. I somehow knew it instantly, like it was all rolled into one. The observing and the knowing. This knowing was just given to me somehow. I was the property of, or protected by, or belonged to someone else who set the rules that this thing couldn't violate. I felt so grateful and humbled by that sense of protection. I also knew it extended to humanity as a whole. There was nothing egotistical about it. It was simply a fact that we are someone else's, and they love us and value us. Whereas this thing resented and hated us on a scale I've never experienced or conceptualized before. I could just feel it, so palpably. It was conscious, timeless, pure hatred, resentment, evil. But it couldn't move or act in that moment. I finally said to X, wherever he was, Okay, that's enough. And as I did, I touched his arm. Now, normally X would have felt fleshy, not very solid. He had a slight build, wasn't very muscly, and had a nervous, twitchy disposition. This time I touched him was different. It felt like I'd touched a statue that could never be moved. I can't describe it, other than that, like there was no life in his body. It was like concrete, and there would have been no way to make a dent in him, let alone move him. It was a solidity I have no words for. Soon after that, X came back. As he looked away, shut his eyes and opened them, and they were his normal eyes again, and his body was his normal self again. None of that statuesque quality. I have a somewhat dry, laconic, protective mode. So when he asked something like, "So, what do you think?" I simply said, whatever that thing was, I wouldn't invite it to dinner anytime soon, and didn't elaborate. I knew him well enough to know he'd discount anything that didn't accord with what his ego wanted. And frankly, I just wanted to get out of his presence. To this day, he probably thinks he can channel an angel or something. I'd be interested in hearing from anyone who's had this type of experience themselves. I know about black-eyed kids, and that the black eyes are described by exorcists too. I'm interested in how common this is. I do think it's a genuine spiritual phenomena, and that humans can open themselves unwittingly to it. And also deliberately. I know many Christians see it as demonic, and I have sympathy with that view. It's as reasonable as any other theory when you're dealing with something this bizarre. I'm more interested in first-hand experiences than theories, however. Thanks.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching your insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy. Just drop in some details about yourself and see if you're eligible to save money when you bundle your home and auto policies. The process only takes minutes, and it could mean hundreds more in your pocket. Visit Progressive.com after this episode to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.
Hi, it's Sarah Gibson-Tuttle, the founder of Olive & June. Can I tell you the one thing that always makes my day better? A fresh manicure. But here's the thing, who has the time or budget to go to the nail salon every week? That's why we created the Olive and June Gel Mani System. It gives you that same glossy, long-lasting mani you get at a salon for so much less. It comes with everything you need, a pro-level LED lamp, salon-grade tools, our damage-free gel polish that lasts up to 21 days. Just prep, paint, cure, and you're good to go. And the best part, it's so easy and super affordable. So skip that $80 salon appointment. Get that salon quality look at home on your schedule. Head to oliveandjune.com/DIYGel20 and use code DIYGel20 for 20% off your first gel mani system. That's oliveandjune.com/DIYGel20. Code DIYGel20 for 20% off your first gel mani system.
Yeah, get out of there. Just get your stuff. Yep, impressive. Thanks for showing. Thanks for the share. And go. I also really get that idea about something being ancient. I covered this kind of Harlequin. It's one of the really early episodes. And there was something about that story where this Harlequin was trying to get a message across. And it was described as this just ancient being, and it reminds me so much of It, in It. Because that's how It is described, as this ancient being, and it just does something. Does something to my body. It makes me go, oh, ancient. Because I kind of get it, and it's that darkness that you can't really put into words. If you're like me, you can really, really imagine what it would feel like. Spooky. Well, that's it from me today. I hope you enjoyed, and I will catch you again tomorrow for the extra episode. Take care, everyone.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Fiscally responsible, financial geniuses, monetary magicians. These are things people say about drivers who switch their car insurance to Progressive and save hundreds. Visit Progressive.com to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states or situations.
Flowers die in 3 days. Matching underwear from MeUndies? That's a gift that lasts. MeUndies creates matching prints for couples and friends. Same adorable designs in different cuts for each of you. All made from their signature ultramodal fabric that feels impossibly soft. With 30 million pairs sold and 90,000 5-star reviews, MeUndies matching prints are the perfect gift. Valentine's Day is February 14th, so don't wait. Get exclusive deals up to 50% off at MeUndies.com/ACAST. Code ACAST. That's MeUndies.com/ACAST. Code ACAST.
The stories told on the Whispering Woods are inspired by historical records, witness reports, and local folklore. While every effort is made to research and represent events accurately, some details, names, and locations may differ from official accounts or have been changed out of respect for those involved. These episodes are created for storytelling and entertainment purposes and should not be considered definitive fact or investigative journalism.